It's live up there on.
Yes, sir. Reed, for those of you who have tuned in all day, we thank you for tuning in for a special tribute to Michael Jackson and the Jacksons. Right now, for the moment of truth, for what we've all been waiting for, we got my man, the world-renowned Michael Jackson impersonator, the best, Mr. Carl O'Reilly is in the studio right now. What's up, my bro?
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. So glad to have you here with us today.
Same. I'm glad to be here.
Right on. Thank you so much. And of course, we got Mr. Henry Archuleta. What do you think, Henry?
Oh my gosh!
You're scared,
Okay,
bro.
so yeah, I'm frightened, man. Okay, we've had some of the best entertainers here in our facility, in our studio. This has got to be one of the nicest ones we've had so far. Jesse,
Absolutely.
you brought him in here. I'm telling you, that's why you're cooking. You're on fire. This is great to have. I'm going to say to have Michael
To
Jackson.
have Michael Jackson. back here.
Michael Jackson here on www.kuhs radio in Denver. If you're streaming, get on the streamer. You can see it live right now. And we're going to have a fun time talking a lot of things over with Mr. Riley, the Michael Jackson of Denver, of the world, of Vegas, everywhere. The man is on fire right now. One of the closest impersonators I've ever seen, ever. This is live. Go ahead, Jesse. Let's have some fun with talking to him. Stream it out there to everybody. Let everybody know what Mr. Riley's all about.
Absolutely. And you know he's got a lot to say. So right now we're just gonna start it. You know, where'd you grow up? Where'd you? I know you know. I know, but a lot of
Sure,
people don't know.
sure.
But let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Grown up in Colorado my entire life. It's actually my favorite place to be, even though I've been all over the world.
hmm And then you know, going all around the world and everything. Was that as Michael or by yourself or?
Both, but
Both.
luckily, being able to portray Michael Jackson has enabled me to have other opportunities throughout the world since he's so widely accepted
Absolutely.
globally.
You know, when did it all happen? When did you look in the mirror and say, "Wow, I really look like MJ"?
Well, as far as the look portion, it was about 10 years ago on Halloween. I decided that I was going to play Michael for Halloween just because they always play Thriller and I always had done the dance.
hmm
And I've always been such a fan. But I went to a costume shop, put on a wig, and I just looked in the mirror and I couldn't believe it that even without makeup, just that hair frames my face correctly the way he has his look. And from there, I just ran with it.
It just all fell into place, huh?
Absolutely.
What do you think
Henry?
about?
I'm sitting
This
here in
is
awe.
awesome. I am in awe. You know, Jesse, you're bringing some of the foremost, I would say the foremost type of entertainers in our facility here in the studio. Let's go over some of the entertainers that we've had here before, and then talk to Mr. Riley about some other things. I'll ask him a few questions, and we'll go from there.
Of course.
Now we've had the Jamaica people. I mean, they were in here. They date back way, way, way back, and
Absolutely.
we've had Palance Bradshaw. We've had all kinds of nice people
We
in
had
it.
Sue Charles,
Yeah.
you know, she's doing her thing. Where's she at in Atlanta now? or
Yeah,
something?
she's in Atlanta.
She's doing
She was
her
in here. She at first didn't want to come. She came here. She had a good time. She says,
Mhm.
"Wow, this is great." Chasing the Dream, doing his thing. We've been having a great time doing all kinds of things in here with KUHS Radio. It's been just phenomenal, especially with what we've got going on today. Mr.
I gotta
Riley.
admit, I mean, this is the pinnacle for me. I've been,
Yeah.
you know, Michael Jackson fan all my life, and today is just you felt it in the air. It's just been a crazy emotional day, you know.
Yeah,
but-
check it out. You were playing. You were throwing down some Michael
Absolutely.
Jackson stuff. I mean, everybody was texting me, "Wow, where's that? What are you guys doing?" I go, "This is a Michael Jackson takeover brought to you by DJ Jess." Everybody was tuned in. They were asking for requests. Our streamer was way over 4,000 listeners for your show alone.
And
This
it's still going
it's
up right
climbing,
now
and I
because
think
they want to
everybody-
see what's going on.
Yeah,
here in
Michael
the studio.
Jackson's in the house, and we're having a good time with Mr. Riley. I mean, he just came here. He says, "I was a little lost, so we delayed the show so we can go with Music Alive a little later, so we can present it in the proper way
And
that we should." You know,
We're gonna
so-
take our time with this one too. So y'all are locked in. Make sure you go to kuhsdenver.com to see the live video stream of what's going on inside the studio. I mean, he looks great right now. That's all I gotta say.
Let me ask Mr. Riley.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's some of let's go over some of the And I wanted to ask you this: some of the cities that you've got to, go actually perform and do an impersonation. I'm sure there's lots of people around the world.
All around the world, yeah.
And kind of go over who's around the world for him, Jesse, because they're going to be locked into him right now.
Oh, of course. I mean, we got people listening right now in France, in India, in all over Birmingham, Woolbridge, New Jersey, all across the United States right now. So you have listeners in Germany right now listening to you, and I know, the German fans for Michael were some of his biggest fans. So you got a great following over there, and he has great following all around the world.
They had a really nice special you guys did. Was that done on New Year's Eve? When did he do the special here in Denver? No, it wasn't. No. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So-
but he's performed all across the Denver metro area. He's done a couple. Where we first met, actually, he was needing some backup dancers, and before I was a DJ, like you've seen on the video, I like to dress up as Slash and play a mean air guitar with him, and I did some backup dancing with him. So he's performed across here in the Denver metro area, and he's got some coming up with Jennifer Band, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But right now, I just want to touch a little bit on. Well, you actually got to meet Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah, actually, at the Thriller 25th anniversary party in Tokyo, March 8th, 2007.
I mean, you got your picture in People magazine calling you guys twins, spread out across the online, on the internet, and around the world. Talk about that a little bit. How did that feel for you?
Yeah, it was a dream come true, especially after I met him. I couldn't even really believe it. But a couple days later, it was in magazines all over the world that said twins and brothers and things of that nature. And he hadn't been seen for a while, so people were curious as to how he looked at that time. And then to be seen with someone who's dressed as him was it was quite an honor.
Now, what did he say when he saw you dress up?
He's real shy, and at first he was just asking me where I was from, and I was so caught off guard by him asking me questions that I didn't really know the answers, even though they were basic questions. So one of the first questions he asked me is, "Where are you from?" And I was like, Denver, Colorado.
Mhm.
And he's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, Carlo Riley. I didn't know. It was just it was crazy. And then I got to hug him and give him a handshake and told him how great he looked. And I thanked him for holding such an event that enabled the fans to interact with him,
Mhm.
especially after the event.
he took one look at you. What did he think of you, how you look?
Yeah, what do you say about your outfit?
Oh, he's just laughed, and he's it was people were looking at him to see what his reaction would be when I came in the room. So as soon as that happened, he laughed, and then he got real shy. He pulled his hair in front of his face and tilted his eyeglasses up, and then from that, it's crazy because all of this happened just like in a matter of 30 seconds.
Mhm.
But I mean, I could tell it like it's a half-hour story about it. But luckily, he liked my look enough that he had his photographer take some additional pictures because it was a limit of one picture per person,
Mhm.
period, like no matter what. But he waved his photographer over, and they took a whole bunch. And then there was other people in the room that also took photographs, and those are the ones that ended up in the press. So far, I've seen 3 of the pictures. I don't know how many are out there though.
Mhm.
And Jesse, correct me or slap me if I can ask this question. Everybody probably wonders, is this his natural look?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
let's
of
go over
course.
that. The
Yeah,
natural
let
look.
him know,
This
let
is
him
great.
know,
Let him
because,
know. You've got to let him know. This
Yeah.
is,
Like I
course.
said, I
this
know
is not
all
fake.
about you,
This is
bro.
real.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I get asked the question 100 times a day. No, it doesn't offend me whatsoever. No, as far as the look, again, minus all the makeup and whatnot that I wear, you would never even relate me back to Michael Jackson in that regard. And for the number one question, obviously, plastic surgery. Of course, that's the number one. I haven't at this point, but it's nothing that I'm opposed to.
Mhm.
I've actually looked into it to see if there's anything that I could do to highlight certain features. And at this point, it's not really anything that's necessary for me to do. Like I don't need to place a cleft in my chin or
Right.
do anything like that. But again, I'm not opposed to it. So down the line, you guys might see that I got a new Michael makeover.
But you take a look at him, Jesse. I mean, do you think he really needs anything? Just
No.
looking at the man.
Yeah,
you
absolutely
really don't
not.
need anything. We're getting logged in from. It looks like everybody's starting to log in. San Francisco's coming in through us. So just keep this in mind as people log in. A lot of Denver, Sweden, Buffalo, New York.
Sweden's in right now, Buffalo.
We had Montreal, Quebec. They've logged in for a while back, so they're listening into the takeover that Jesse had. So it's kind of nice to see everybody. So we didn't get to the cities that you've got to perform. Jesse started being rude and
Sorry.
interrupted me. No, just kidding.
As usual.
As usual, he knows me. He knows me.
No, let's go over some of the cities that you've got to perform and how people take to you when you actually show up.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So, all over the USA, obviously, and then outside of that, Hong Kong, Curacao, Honduras, Guatemala, Canada, Turkey, Greece, Germany, and I've got requests from all over, like Dubai, Australia, New Zealand. It's just a matter of making all of those work together to get there.
Hmm.
But at some point, I'll visit all those places, and my face has actually made it to all of those places.
I mean, you got your picture hanging up in airports.
Yeah.
Which one? Which airport?
Yeah, so
was
there's
it?
Dallas Fort Worth and the Atlanta airport.
They have his picture, not Michael. His picture.
Yeah, and then in reference to magazines, all over the world.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, I've seen Dateline specials use your picture, thinking it was Michael Jackson. I've watched the Today Show use his picture. I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to you. And I said, look what you. Oh yeah, I already saw that.
Now check it out. As management, how do you, like if you're going to go to any of these other countries, you've got to have management that, because there's a lot of people who, all over the world, they don't all speak English.
no, totally. So usually the promoter will provide someone with me to be able to translate and whatnot. I don't always have security. I've noticed.
And security is essential for,
It-
because they can mob you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people try to steal my costumes and stuff just to have like memorabilia
Of you.
yeah, or in reality, I mean, it's not me that they want. It's just Michael. I'm just the current focalization at that time that's tangible.
Mhm.
So that's why they want it. And a lot of people, because I physically touched him, like shaking his hand and got a hug from him, they want to touch me, so they have that connection as well.
Now, any kind of memorabilia, do you carry anything with you to throw out to fans? Anything that you
You
bring
know,
along with you?
I do bring certain things every now and then, and I give them to random people. Usually kids, because they're the ones who are the most in awe of what I do. Um, but outside of that, I mean, obviously, the shirts. I can sign Michael's autograph exactly, and I've been doing that ever since I was a little kid, far before I ever even dressed up. So I think maybe my soul knew at some point I'd actually need to use that.
Mhm.
So I perfected it by the time I was like 10 or 11 years old. And now it's just coincidentally people ask me for it and I can do it.
Okay, now when you perform, do you do a lip sync or do you actually come out and sing?
Believe it or not, I actually do sing, but I don't have a live microphone. So what I do is I use a sing-alike or a sound-alike that sounds just like Michael.
Okay, so then you can go right along with it.
Yeah, so I know exactly where it's coming out, and because of that, and it's it sounds like him, but it's live versus just being a tape. So people are like, oh my gosh, like you sound just like him, but in reality, no, that's not true.
And what side on your sets? You're going to do a set. Let's say you do a set.
Mhm.
They hire you for a set. Is it just one set, two sets? How far do they go into
How
it?
long are they in?
It depends. So if I have all my dancers and all that to do Beat It and Thriller, we can obviously extend it.
And then is Jesse still dancing, or is he still doing
I
Thor?
do more behind the scenes with him.
Yeah.
I kind of retired from the dancing.
He kind of helps me control the chaos that goes on back, the frantic costume changes while I'm like screaming and ripping clothes off and adjusting my makeup. So,
Now, do you ever have trouble with a lot of the fans? I mean, there's still young girls that still, love that, and they try to jump on you. Everybody still go crazy. Do you still get that kind of
Absolutely.
format?
Absolutely, and I've noticed the longer Michael's gone, the crazier it's gotten because he's no longer available. So they can just point that energy somewhere that's similar.
Now,
to him.
now, how you're saying that, and you go back to Selena.
Uh-huh.
Selena had the same thing, and somebody stepped right into her shoes, and that was Jennifer Lopez.
Sure.
It was the same thing, and she became extremely famous, and that's what's happening to you, more or less, because you've got the
Right.
Michael Jackson look. I mean, you look like Michael Jackson.
Thank you.
I keep looking over at you, and we got Michael Jackson
I
in the
appreciate
house.
that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can't dream this up, Jesse.
No,
I
absolutely
can't dream
not.
this
I
up.
know.
Look at this. It's
I
like,
know,
okay,
it's
this
amazing.
is great. Yes.
And I want to touch on something. The first time I saw Carla Riley, we were at the Janet Jackson concert when she was here.
What venue was
It
she?
was at the Wells Fargo.
Oh, yeah,
Theater.
that's right.
It was their number one. And it was about 10 minutes until showtime. We hear this big old crowd roar, like she was just out on stage. And I'm looking for her, and she's not there. I look over and I see this guy who looks just like Michael Jackson. I mean, he's wearing the coat, the hair, the everything, And he walks all the way and he sits in the front row.
And that's you, Carlo.
And that was Carlo.
Yeah.
And from there on, I said, man, I got to find out who this guy is. And turns out, his mom used to work at the police department with my mom, and his cousin works with her right now. So shout out to you, Danielle. I know she's listening.
Okay. What's going on?
So, and then we came about it. He needed some dancers to help him do some Thriller and all that, So that just shows you right there. I mean, he took the show away from Janet for quite a minute right there.
Well, he's Michael.
He is Michael.
And everybody like sitting in that theater probably look down. They think, wow, look at this, and they can't quite. The clarity's there, but not.
It took him about 20 minutes to get to his seat because people were coming, taking pictures with him. So,
Now, do you
wanted
have to
to
have
shake his
security right there?
he should have.
Well, it's crazy because when I do have security, that's when people seem to go crazier.
It seems like when you can't get to you, they want to get to you.
Because they know somebody good is behind all
And how
this
much
security.
security do you need? I mean, if you go to, let's say you went to let's say Janet Jackson decides to go on tour, she's in town again, you do the same thing. How much security would you?
I should have
Obviously,
had
yeah.
at least one person,
Mhm.
like at the very least, because people get kind of crazy and
Yeah.
started picking sequins off my jacket. And stuff, like,
Tearing your clothes apart.
yeah, and I mean we're like older women, like 60s, years old that are
Oh,
doing this. So
screaming
it's
they
a
go
cougar.
crazy.
Yeah.
Cougar. More like, I don't know if you would call that a cougar, would you?
Which one?
A 60-year-old one? Would that
Oh,
still
yeah.
be a cougar? Or an old
Like-
gata.
Yeah.
Or gato. No, gata.
Yeah. But yeah, like we said, I've seen it happen before, and he's telling all the truth that the crowd and the fans of Michael Jackson, they're still more lively than ever, So
Well, let's touch up on the costume outfits and how you go about getting those costumes and those outfits, and how do you get them looking so good?
how do you make it look like exactly like
I was looking at some of the pictures, Carlo, and I even told Jesse, I go, okay, how does he know? I mean, look at those.
Because I'm a crazy person.
Yeah.
The
Looks like
patterns,
'Cause I
the
know
designs,
how.
everything, the rhinestones from the tiniest rhinestone on the jacket, you get all the details. How do you do it?
It's just because I look at him so much, so I know what I want to see. So if it's not right, then I immediately know because I've looked at it 1,000 times.
And you make a lot of your own costumes.
I do, yeah. That's because no one else can get it. No one else has that eye
Mhm.
to do it like that. But as Jesse knows, I probably have more costumes than I do actual clothes for myself.
For Carlo, yeah.
Yeah. But
And
it's
Carlo,
fun, yeah.
how long you been doing this, did you say?
About 10 years now.
Oh,
believe
it's
it or
10
not.
years. I had in my mind 4 to 6 years. but
No.
10 years.
10
Yeah.
So you're polished. You're polished at what you do.
Not as much as I need to be, but yeah.
No, but
I've done
actually,
a lot.
in the reality of it, 10 years is polished.
Mhm.
And lately, what's been some of your events that you've gone to lately? Any good ones? Some really good ones in the big cities.
Sure. As far as like where I performed,
Uh-huh.
or,
What is just name about 2 or 3 of your favorites that you've gone to?
my favorite place by far is Greece. I never
Wow.
thought in my life that I'd ever get there, let alone be treated like royalty.
They flew you out there. They put you up.
Private jet.
Yeah, I mean, very nice, luxurious hotel. The people, the fans there were the best fans I've ever met anywhere in the world, even Asia. Like the Greek fans are amazing, and the food was amazing, and the people are beautiful, and the fashion and the appreciation for art is just undeniable. I mean, it just shows how uncultured the American society is to other parts of the world. That's why Michael's way bigger of a star anywhere else in the world than here.
Mhm.
They appreciate that kind of rarity and exoticness that he.
Well, they were
exudes.
always looking to, hate on him. It's like that's what I've seen a lot of. The bad faction would hate on him, but
And that's only here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's
Everywhere
what
else
I
in the
noticed.
world,
It's
no,
like,
they
yeah.
report him as the victim.
yes, and that's how I see it too. And you think Greece was the number one? I've always wondered you say you went to New York City? What was New York City like?
Believe it or not, New York, and I filmed a bad video reenactment in the subway.
Wow,
But
I bet you that was
yeah,
tight.
it was super cool. I had a whole film crew and everything. But what's funny about it is because New York is all film and art and makeup, people there were just like,
No big deal, huh?
could care less. I mean, they didn't even look twice. It was like, which I loved. I was like, wow, this is great. Like, this is insane. That, and every now and then someone that was a fan would like their jaw would drop that like all this was going on in the same subway system
Mhm.
as Michael did his. But that's why I like that. It's strange because they're so cultured.
Okay, take us across the pond over to Japan. I know Japan is huge, in Asia and all those areas
Oh,
are
yeah.
huge on Michael.
Yeah, I got mobbed in Japan.
See, there you go.
Okay, now when you do your, especially when you're going out to those places, do you put it down in your rider for security and multiple security to watch your
They always
welfare?
they always have it, but as far as like when I went to Japan, that was to meet Michael. So no one had ever even seen or heard of me at that point.
Oh, okay.
And I had never even done a custom outfit. So that was my first, like, my debut.
Mhm.
And when I got off the taxi cab and they dropped me off there, all the press, like CNN and MSNBC, everyone like ran over. They thought I was Michael. So I had this huge barrage of like cameras like running up to me and like screaming Michael, and all these fans like running up to me crying, and all like I never had that happen, and then it just all happened all at once.
Carl, let me ask you this question. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people have asked this question. Has anybody of the Jackson family asked you to be a decoy?
No, actually, and that was my dream, is to work for Michael as his body double, because I had seen others that he had hired, and I
Yeah,
thought
yeah. I haven't seen nobody,
little
not
bit.
even close. Not even
Thank you.
close.
Thank you. So
And not because I think you're great and you're from Denver and all that. I mean, I got eyes. I can see. I mean, I got Michael sitting in freaking the studio.
thank you.
It's tight. It's really cool.
It is cool. So, going back to, if any of the family has asked you to be a decor, I know TMZ is in your life more than a normal person, because, you've met all of the brothers and they got a picture of you standing in the middle with all the original Jackson 5.
Sure.
How did that feel?
That was amazing. That was actually another one of my dreams because ever since I was little, I wanted to be like Michael. I just never knew it was possible. So I was like, wow, if I ever get to do Michael, then I want to stand with the Jackson 5, like I'm Michael.
Mhm.
And flash forward 20 some years later, and I actually got to do it. And they greeted me. They said, "Hey, brother," like,
Wow.
and I was just like,
They
taken
gave me
back,
chills
I
right there
couldn't
too.
believe it.
You're listening to www.kuhs Denver here in Colorado we're sitting here next to Carlo Riley. I mean, almost an exact duplicate of Michael Jackson. We have the pleasure of having him here in our studio. If you haven't patched in, you better patch in now and check this out on www.kuhs Radio here in Denver, Colorado. This is awesome to have an individual like himself in
Isn't
here.
it good?
Oh man, it's awesome here from
Thanks.
Denver, and
Like,
it's cool. And well, I've got some more questions if you're ready for them.
Yeah.
Have you ever got to meet Joe and Catherine Jackson
know-
and taken pictures with them?
I have met, actually, I've met both of them. I got to pose with Catherine. Catherine, Michael's mother, actually asked to meet me,
Mhm.
which I could not believe. I've always stayed away from her at events because I don't know how that would be for her to see someone who looks somewhat like her
because she
son.
doesn't even have pictures of Michael
Yeah.
hung up, right?
Yeah, she said that in interviews, that she can't listen to his music or have any photos of him. It just breaks her heart. So I basically wrote it off a long time ago that I'd never get to meet her. And then flash forward a few years later, I found out she was in Gary, Indiana while I was there as well. And she had seen me from her bus that she was waiting on.
Mhm.
And she asked her security guards to come over and get me. And he came over and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Mrs. Jackson would like to meet you and take a picture." And I couldn't believe that. I was just like, "Oh my, are you serious?" And then when she came out, she like smiled like really big, like she was really happy to see me, like almost like she saw MJ for like a second, and then it dropped off her face, and then she just got real sad, and she's like, "You're gonna make me cry."
Yeah,
And then she
because
started
I mean,
crying.
you look.
There's this picture, it's on your Facebook and everywhere. It's you and her. She's looking up at you on your face. You can see the tears in her eyes, and you could just see the glow around the both of you. I mean, it's this wonderful picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, now Carlo, I mean, you've been around all these individuals. The Jackson family is one of the foremost, most well-known family in the world.
Oh, they're royalty all over the world.
Absolutely.
Now, did you ever get their autographs?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what those autographs are worth, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
To
God.
me especially, they're priceless. Some were obtained in person, and at some point, because I invest my money elsewhere, but I will frame them all, with the picture of me with them.
Mhm.
And in some cases there's video as well that accompanies that, and it's crazy because there will always be a crazy amount of Jackson fans,
Mhm.
like hundreds, thousands of years from now, but like it will be literally impossible to meet them, and I've literally met like everyone. and like taking pictures
Absolutely.
of
I
them.
mean,
It's
you
crazy.
you met Michael, you met the brothers, you met Catherine, you met Latoya, and you even got to meet Paris Jackson, her Michael Jackson's daughter. How did she react to you?
Oh yeah, she was another one that I stayed away from. I saw her look at me, but I kept looking down. I didn't want to make it strange for her at all.
Hmm.
And then she's like, "Hey," and I turned around. I was like, "No way, she's talking to me." And she's like, "Hey, I like your outfit." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and then from that point, after I saw her smile, I went over to go talk to her, and I told her how much I loved her and her family, and got a picture, and she was happy. I couldn't believe it. I thought she might have been weirded out by that. But also, I've seen Prince and Blanket as well,
Wow.
and
Nice.
Prince pointed me out to Blanket. And Blanket turned around and was like, "What? What are you pointing at?" And his mouth literally opened. Like, what the? And that was
My
that was the best judge ever. Is
Oh,
his
absolutely.
son and his mother. No matter what anyone else says about my look or anything, those two people's opinions are worth more than any.
Oh, by far,
Absolutely.
And one thing I needed to ask you this question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions I wanted
No,
to
it's
ask.
fine.
I didn't write them down,
I
but
don't mind.
has anybody asked you to do a live performance on a large scale?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get requests actually to do it all the time. That's why I formulated a partnership with Michael Jackson's staff, specifically his guitarist that he's worked with throughout all of his world tours and music videos, Jennifer Batten. So, because people want to see the full Michael Jackson concert experience, the only way to do that is with all the bells and whistles, his staff, all the props, everything,
The whole 9 yards,
And
and
everything
you,
and more.
and
Yeah,
you, the focal,
yeah,
the
which
focal
is
point of Michael Jackson.
yeah, which is very intimidating because I'm never going to be able to be like him. That's why
Do you
he's
think you
so
would,
spectacular.
let's say somebody put on a big spectacular show,
Mhm.
40 million people watching around the world
Mhm.
live, you think you'd be able to come across and perform without any kind of butterflies up? I mean,
I might have some, but honestly, I've passed that point.
So you know how it's exciting to you.
It is super exciting, and no matter what, even if I fell down,
It
like
doesn't make a difference.
I
You're
don't even
still
care.
there.
I've already lived my dream to meet Michael. Like, so what, I have nothing to lose at this point. I don't care. But I'm open to it, and I know that the right opportunity will present itself to do that, and I'm ready.
So one thing I want to go back a little bit.
Mhm.
July 2009, you were in California for Michael Jackson's memorial.
Right.
How was that for you? I
Oh,
mean, of course, it
that
was sad. I mean, it's the saddest
it
around the world.
It was super sad. For one, I was still in shock about the whole thing because I was gearing up to go to the concert series in London, the first 5 shows.
Right. You
and
had
then-
tickets, right?
Right. And then the next thing I know, I'm going to a funeral, like, so for the same person,
Mhm.
all in a matter of a short period of time. So, but to be honest with you, it was actually kind of fun. I know it
Mhm.
sounds strange, but like it was all geared up like a concert atmosphere. They didn't play any like sad ballads or anything. It was all like
Up tempo,
up tempo and everyone dancing. Everyone's wearing a Michael shirt. It was kind of like a concert.
Mhm.
Until they brought the casket out, and then that was when it was like, oh my gosh, like this is like for
It's real, yeah.
like this isn't just some. And then hearing his kids speak and all that, but it was terrible. But and it's crazy because every now and then people ask me, they're like, oh, you were there? They're like, oh, so you saw Mariah Carey and Usher and John Mayer?
Like a
I'm
concert.
yeah, and I'm like, I could care less. I didn't even pay attention to any of them. Like I was literally, I was there for Michael, and that's it.
You're listening to KUHS Denver here in Denver, Colorado. Time now is 3:30 p.m. You're on the Music Alive show. DJ Jess presenting the foremost look-alike, Mr. Carlo Riley.
Mr. Carlo Riley.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
right. Michael Jackson. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. If you're patched into us, and we just had Germany patch in right now.
Mhm.
If you're looking at it, take a look at that. Germany, you want Michael Jackson? You can call us, call him, call anybody.
Now, I know you got a website. What's your website?
It's almostmj.com.
Almost MJ. That's for real. Almostmj.com.
Just about. I mean, he is right there. The only thing that's missing is his spirit of Michael Jackson, because everything looks like Michael Jackson.
Mhm.
I'm appalled. I just cannot.
And you know what? His spirit's living with this guy right now. I gotta
It's
give
really
it that.
cool. I mean, you got to be. I mean, deep down inside, Carlo, you got to feel really, really good about this. I mean, this is so.
It's literally
phenomenal.
beyond a dream come true. I mean, I can't even tell you. Like if I would have had the choice to win the Powerball or do this, I would choose this.
Oh, by far.
And I
This
get
is
to-
more
I would
fun.
too.
And at the right time, I got to meet Michael, and then plus that love for him is just like undeniable, and people are just like wanting to direct it somewhere. So I mean, even I get it just a 0.1% of what he gets, but still, it's overwhelming. I would never have that kind of energy directed to me all over the world. I mean, we're talking like Dubai, London, Australia, Alaska, New York, Mexico. Like the fact that anyone anywhere else in the world even knows who I am or like appreciates what I do is just insane.
Now, when these
It's crazy.
people are trying to find you, how do they know where to go to get you? Because I mean, they're from other parts of the world and they see you and they just research and research and research till they get to you.
Well, luckily, with all the social media as far as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, that's, and I came right at the time when all of that stuff was,
Came to the
yeah,
forefront
so
of
like,
it.
even when I was an amateur and I put out, my pictures of me as Michael, they went like global. They were in like,
They went viral.
yeah,
Fast.
they were in chat rooms in
Fast.
Abu Dhabi, and like, I
Abu
couldn't,
Dhabi.
couldn't
Dang.
believe it. Like,
Yeah.
just, I mean, literally like a couple days. And then when I met him, then it went, and then I realized I could really like play with this, So that's why I stepped it up. But I still have a lot farther
Absolutely.
to
I
go.
was just about to ask, what is the future looking like for you? I know you got a lot of things you're performing. You could perform in front of a crowd of 1,000 people to performing in front of a crowd of 20 people.
Sure.
What is the future looking like for you? What do you got?
Sure. So with the new show that I'm formulating with Michael's staff and Jennifer Batten, we're working on that now to do a full world tour with the things that are familiar within the Michael Jackson fan world, but adding new pieces that weren't available in his palette at the time that they were produced. But I'm confident he would have been involved with. Outside of that, I know Jesse, but I have a Michael Jackson life-size hologram.
Mhm.
It's one of 3 in the world, and it's literally his presence,
Mhm.
and he makes eye contact with you and smiles.
Right.
So I plan on bringing that to the fan world and sharing that with everyone so they can come close. It's literally the closest you could possibly come to him, especially in a live version.
Absolutely.
That is
Him
nice.
at his
isn't it?
peak.
And with this new thing you got going on with Jennifer, I just want to say, through you, I was able to meet Jennifer Batten, and she was able to discuss some stories about Michael and everything. And it was such a honor for me because, with you and Jennifer, that's about as close as I'm going to get to meeting Michael as well. So, with that being said, I thank you for being on my show, Carlo.
Of course. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you know how much I love Michael Jackson, and we
Absolutely.
spend hours talking about him and doing stuff about him and watching videos and all that good stuff, And so I thank you for letting me be part of your career and part of your life, and it's been quite the journey for you as well, And so we wish you nothing but the best. Henry, what do
Thank
you
you.
got to say?
Oh, we got to say it. We got to do one station identification here.
Go
Listen to KUHS Denver, a world communication network, UHS World Communications. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, patching into our website and seeing this live. Carl O'Reilly, one of the closest impersonators I have ever seen. And I've been around the block, let me tell you. And don't say, yeah, we can tell. And I thank you, Jesse, for bringing this man in. Carl O'Reilly, it's a pleasure to just get to meet you and see you live. I saw Michael Jackson live in concert twice in my lifetime, and I got to have him here in my studio. Even though it's you're an impersonator, you look just like him, man.
Thank you.
I really wish the best, and you keep us in mind. We'd love to go see one of your shows
Absolutely.
and stream it live for anybody who wants to watch it live if it's allowed. And we thank you for being here. It was a pleasure. And so if you want to check this video out, it's streamed up on our website, and it'll be there for the rest of the week.
Mhm.
So it's a pleasure, and thank you for being on. And we'd like to say goodbye for now. You're listening to
Thanks for having me.
KUHS Radio Denver here in Denver, Colorado. The DJ Jesse Show on Music Alive Show, brought to you by GWiz Computers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I got to play this song for you, Carlo. You're the first one to show me this song. Fly Away. What do you think?
Oh, it's one of my favorites. I
One of his
love it. It's
All-time
amazing.
favorites right here, Michael Jackson. So thank you, brother.